TOS Television, your digital-first Pan-African news network. I am Abigail Okwade, and this is Africa Now. Andre Gro-Enewald, South Africa's ambassador to the Ukraine, said he has no choice but to leave the capital, Kiev, as an armored Russian convoy is heading to the city, with explosions held in the distance. Meanwhile, African students in the southern Ukrainian city of Kherson have been forced to hide in basements to escape air raids and gunshots they hear every 5 minutes. Now, the son of Uganda's long-running President Yoweri Museveni on Monday publicly voiced support for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is the commander of Uganda's land forces, in a tweet said, and I quote, "When the USSR packed nuclear-armed missiles in Cuba in 1962, the West was ready to blow up the world over it. Now, when NATO does the same, they expect Russia to do differently." End of quote. Nigerian lawmakers on Tuesday voted against a bill seeking to provide special seats for women in the national and state houses of assembly to increase their political representation. The bill was defeated in the Senate with 58 votes, out of 91. In the House of Representatives, 208 out of 290 lawmakers voted against it. Nigeria has never elected a woman president or state governor. Libya's parliament approved the new government on Tuesday, but the incumbent prime minister rejected the vote and vowed not to cede power, raising the risk of fighting among armed factions on territorial partition between rival administrations. The United Nations and foreign powers that recognized Abdulhamid al-Dabiba's government when it was installed a year ago have avoided any definitive statement on which administration should now be seen as legitimate and have instead pushed for quick elections. At least 440 people were killed in a violence between warring parties in the South Sudanese country of Tambura between June and September last year, the United Nations said in a new report on Tuesday. The killings were also accompanied by other atrocities, including the gang rape of a 13-year-old girl and recruitment of children into militias, the report said. The United Nations Human Rights Agency blamed the violations and abuses on members of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, an army in opposition, and the South Sudan's People's Defense Forces and their respective affiliated militias. This is your digital-first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. You're watching Africa Now. Business and more coming your way after the break. Just stay tuned. Welcome back in business. Mali has been unable to pay almost $80 million it owes on an international debt after sanctions imposed in January froze its foreign bank accounts. The West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS, ordered the sanctions after Mali's military rulers went back on plans to hold elections and said they would stay in power for 5 years. The Malian authorities have said the restrictions and the cutting of foreign aid were inhumane and will push people into deeper poverty. Now moving on to judicial matters. Thomas Koweyo, a notorious rebel commander, has asked Uganda to transfer his trial to the International Criminal Court. Koweyo, who is accused of leading massacres against civilians in northern Uganda, faces dozens of charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity in connection with attacks by the Lord's Resistance Army between 1993 and 2005. In 2009, he surrendered to the Ugandan army and has complained that his trial, which began 4 years ago, has been slow and has been hampered by logistic challenges and the coronavirus pandemic. Uganda writer Kwakwenze Rukirashiba has accused of insulting President Yoweri Museveni, has filed a lawsuit against the government, alleging that soldiers tortured him. Rukira Bashaija was detained in December after reportedly disrespecting President Yoweri Museveni and his son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, in a series of tweets. These allegations have been denied. Rukira Bashaija, exiled in Germany, is praying the East African Court of Justice to rule that his detention, torture, and arrest were all unlawful. Now, a South African corruption inquiry on Tuesday said it had referred former President Jacob Zuma and current Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe for investigation by law enforcement with a view to establishing potential graft charges. The report said there were grounds to believe Zuma had passed privately owned services company Bosasa confidential information about criminal investigations into the company and helped inhibit its prosecution in return for bribes in breach of his obligations as a president under the Constitution. And in sports, Sierra Leone will have to play their home matches at neutral venues for the next 2 years, following the closure of the Siaka Stevens Stadium in Freetown for renovation. The 25,000 capacity stadium was handed over to a Chinese construction company last Friday, in a move which will also affect the West African country's Premier League. The renovation work, which is estimated to cost $40 million, will be entirely funded by the Chinese government and is due to be completed in 2024. And that is it on Africa Now. For more updates, to visit our website at www.TOS TVNetwork.com. Follow us and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. To stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television Network. I am Abigail Okwade. Thanks for watching.